Hi, it's me, Nico, again. Um, so, uh, every time my neighbor comes over, and we talk every once in a while, but whenever she comes over, I seem to always have like 5 or 10 more plants or different plants from what she's seen the last time. Um, I have a thing for plants. I love my plants. And I take care of my plants as best as I can, and I tend to do cuttings from them, and I grow more plants from them, like spawning from one another. And so I give away some of these plants, but I take them and I nurture them. And in my bedroom windows, I have the best light, and so I normally put them in my bedroom windows. And the bedroom windows, I call them my nursery. You know, so I put them in the nursery until they get big enough where I can put them into my kitchen, which gets a little less light, but it has much more room for them to grow. I guess the reason why I started doing it is because I'm a smoker, and I figured I could kind of counterbalance myself with the CO2 and feed it to the plants, and the plants will then thereby feed me my oxygen. I thought this was a brilliant idea, just turn my home into an ecosystem, which it technically is anyway, but a more efficient ecosystem. And then I started really enjoying the idea and working with my plants. Then I started growing um, my own vegetation, my mint, my aloe, my carrots. I have marjoram, thyme, basil. I grow a lot of a lot of my own veggies and herbs and stuff. Um, I got into it in this weird way, and it became like a daily habit, and it got me into routine, and I really enjoyed that. And it made me feel responsible because every once in a while, if I got into a funk or whatever and I didn't water the plants for 2 or 3 days, when the leaves would start changing color, it would remind me, all right, come on, get back on your game because you're starting to slack off now. Because it's not just affecting you, it's also affecting your plants. So it gave me something else to be responsible for that would remind me to be responsible for myself. Because if I was slacking off on them, I was definitely slacking off on myself. So I'd have to come back and be like, okay, I'm not eating either, am I? And if I'm not eating, I'm also probably not sleeping. So I had to reassess myself every single time I realized I'm slacking off on the plants. It means I'm slacking off on myself. So they're kind of like my meter for how well I'm taking care of me. Um, when I had gotten really sick and I couldn't I couldn't move around outside of my home for a couple of months at a time, um, or inside of my home for that matter, which is why it happened. I accidentally, or I don't want to say accidentally, but it wasn't on purpose, I killed 43 plants. A couple of them were miniature roses that my kids had given me for Mother's Day. I didn't want them to die. I really wanted to be able to take care of them, but I couldn't physically get further than from my bed to my toilet to vomit. I couldn't. And it's the very next room. My bathroom is right on the other side of that wall, and I couldn't get myself from here to there because I was sick. And I had to have a bucket next to my bed. Like I couldn't walk around the house and water all of my plants. And so that's why they died. So when I got better, I started doing it again where I started growing more plants because I had to prove to myself that I could do it. And I also needed that meter inside of my head clicking, are you taking care of yourself? Has it been, have you been eating? Because if you haven't been eating, your plants haven't been fed either. So now I have a couple of plants that are half dead on me, and it's a reminder again to get off my ass, cook, and water my plants. Because if I'm not taking care of them, I'm not taking care of me. I have to remind myself of that constantly. So yeah, that's why I have a billion plants. I don't have a billion. I don't. I have like maybe 15. Yeah, about there. But they're mostly edible, and the ones that are not edible are actually uh, poison. But I use it um, as rodent control because this building does have a problem with that. We don't have much of a problem with it because, again, I have poison growing in my kitchen. So, yeah. Well, once you learn how to use these things and grow these things, you don't want to lose your touch in that kind of world. The green thumb. You want to keep in practice. You want to be able to continue to do it, and so long as you can do it, you want to be able to continue to do it. If you can't do it anymore, then that's when you realize you got to pass the torch on to somebody else. And I'm not ready to do that just yet. So I'm going to have myself a million plants in this apartment. I'm going to grow my own herbs. I'm going to for as long as I can. And if I have too many for my own windows, I'm going to pass along the extras to people around me because that's just what I do. It's how I do it. I'm a weirdo that way. But I have a green thumb, so there you go. And I guess that's it for today. Talk soon.